Thanks, Bret. Well, a slap in the face, a pat on the back, or both from the Supreme Court tonight for the Environmental Protection Agency. In a complex, divided opinion today, the Supreme Court either dealt the Environmental Protection Agency a stunning blow or upheld most of the agency's power to regulate greenhouse gases, depending on whom you ask. The dispute centered on the EPA's decision to broadly expand its regulatory powers under the Clean Air Act, while critics argued it did so by sidestepping Congress and its legislative powers. Writing for the majority, Justice Antonin Scalia said, quote, "An agency has no power to tailor legislation to bureaucratic policy goals by rewriting unambiguous statutory terms," adding, quote, "Were we to recognize the authority claimed by EPA in the tailoring rule, we would deal a severe blow to the Constitution's separation of powers. Under our system of government, Congress makes laws, and the President, acting at times through agencies like EPA, faithfully executes them."
The Supreme Court absolutely slapped down both the EPA and the Obama administration for trying to rewrite the language of the Clean Air Act.
The court's primary dissent, authored by Justice Stephen Baier, said the majority's interpretation made no sense. Quote, "The expert agency charged with administering the act has determined that greenhouse gases endanger human health and welfare, and so sensible regulation of industrial emissions of those pollutants is at the core of the purpose behind the act." And in fact, much of the agency's power to do so remains intact.
So while the court did take away one method of greenhouse gas emission regulations, it left in place a way of reducing greenhouse gas emissions that basically gives EPA everything that it wanted out of this case.
EPA does call the decision a win and says it's consistent with the agency's efforts to implement the president's climate action plan. The next round of opinions comes Wednesday morning, with the court's term set to wrap next Monday.